And everybody scream, fuck Southwest, fuck your airline, fuck your company, fuck them. This is Going Off Podcast. Oh, buddy.
RC, I was about to ask you how you were doing, but
Look,
I mean,
it's the holiday season.
Da-doop-de-doop.
Yeah, right. So whoop-de-doo. No, not whoop-de-doo. I am very invested.
No whoop-de-doos to be had.
Oh my god, it was so annoying. We ordered some tickets, and it was like a thing. We were like, hey, let's go see some family, because like a family member's feeling really sick, so like, oh, let's come, see him. And then we deal with this whole rigmarole where they're like, the flight's canceled, and we're not telling you why, it's just canceled in the middle of the night. And it's like, oh, okay, give me my money back.
Yeah, like, shouldn't be that hard.
We had to I had to call Southwest like 30 fucking times. And like each time it would be like just a random time where the call would just cut off. And I'm like, okay, is this my phone? And then my mom had to call him, and she was calling him. I was like, okay, so she's dealing with it too. So it's not just my phone that's messing up. You know what I mean? And then sometimes it would just be a busy signal, and it's just like, okay, what's going on? And I was calling their asses every half hour on the half hour to see if it would change. And it was just like keep happening. Finally, my mom got him in. She got her thing arranged, and then she was like, BT Dubs, can we handle this one while I got you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it was a whole fucking ordeal. So now we gotta drive, and that's a whole ordeal. So now we're dealing with that, and we gotta leave. I think right after we record this podcast. So
my goodness,
your boy's dealing with the holiday crunch is all I'm saying.
RC's going through it, folks.
Yeah. So if you're wondering why the output ain't coming as fast, just know life is happening.
Hey, and you know what? I think your intro was 100% justified. But with that being said, you know how YouTube doesn't like cursing within the first minute? I think that's absolutely fine because we are funded by people on our Ko-fi.
That's right, we don't need them.
This is a seamless segue because this week we've got 2 listener-requested album reviews, and if you're sitting there in the year of our Lord 2022, maybe 2023. I'm not sure when this is going to go up. Who knows at this point.
Happy New Year, I guess.
Happy New Year. We have our Ko-fi. That is Ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/goinoff. GOINOFF. And you can request an album to be reviewed on a future episode, whether it's an album that you like, an album you hate, or an album you made. Just check the website for details. RC, we are looking at a couple familiar faces this week.
Yeah, it's time for songs about sex and pretentious songs that are also about sex.
Yeah, we got some different sides of the aisle. We got a little bit more straightforward, a little bit of metaphor. We got a little bit of something for everybody, I think.
Let's start with Lady Gaga.
Gaga, Gaga, Gaga.
Thank you so much, Dr. Goatman, for your request for Art Pop, you guys, by Lady Gaga. It's like pop, but it's like art, I don't think anyone's done this before, so like...
I think this episode might be a little lopsided. Spoiler. But, no, I'm just saying... I don't have nearly as much to say about the Megan album as I do about the Lady Gaga album.
Well, go off.
Oh no, I'll save it. People will have to wait for my praise and or vitriol. We'll have to wait and see which way it comes out.
So this Lady Gaga is someone who, like, I feel like I'm rooting for when I listen to an album. And then it's like, as it goes on, I'm like, is this given what it's supposed to be given?
RC, I got to agree with you. I almost hung up on you. You
gotta be like, no.
No, I gotta
explain. Let me explain.
Well, I still have you here. Oh my god. I opened up my phone and I almost opened up an app, but where the app on my home screen was right over where the hang up button on the cell phone app was.
Oh my god. Can I tell you?
I almost clicked it instead.
There was a couple of times where, like, I was calling Southwest, and then, like, my sister was calling me, and like I was having that brain thing where you're like, it goes like, would you like to end the call, or just like switch over and hold it here, or just end everything, and it's like
What I was trying to look up was how I felt about Lady Gaga albums over time. Just try to see about whether or not I agree with this, because I feel like I have run into this before with at least Born This Way. When I look at it and I'm reminded, that album's just kind of all over the place in quality, I think. In my head I was thinking, oh, it starts off really strong and then it gets weaker by the end. But that's just because there's like a handful of songs in the middle that I'm not a big fan of.
Was it the same with the first album too? Because I could have swore it was like, oh yeah, the big hits are smashes. There's a little bit of questionable lyrics, and then there's like, as you go through the album, it's like, what are these songs like? Is this really the tour de force, next David Bowie, or is this like that's just an aesthetic? And then it's like, what is she really doing here? These just feel like just love songs, but with a very old Vogue sounding voice every now and then. Like
the Fame Monster, which was the EP released after the Fame, which had like Poker Face and Just Dance. It had big hits on it.
Yeah, those are the smashers.
But then the Fame Monster has fucking Bad Romance and Telephone. So that was like the more in-your-face Lady Gaga that we would come to know. There's a big difference between listening to Just Dance and listening to Bad Romance. You know what I mean?
For sure,
stylistically.
For sure.
Fucking Akon is on Just Dance. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
The fucking tonal shift between new pop star on the scene, just kind of doing her own thing, but kind of sounds like a good bit of the other stuff going on. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, this stuff's weird now. Like, the flip of the switch is there. If you're just listening to the Fame, you hear a couple songs you recognize, but the songs you don't are pretty weak. The songs of Lady Gaga's I really like, and the ones I don't, I just completely forget about.
It is just so that, like, and with this one, like, I remember going in and being like, oh, here's Lady Gaga. Like, I remember having that moment where the stuff I didn't like, I forgot, and so I was just like, oh, here's Lady Gaga here to freak us out with some new music, and then I was just like, am I feeling this? And even the album cover looks like, I feel like this is kind of artsy, but it also seems a little underbaked as a, you know what I'm saying? Like,
there is a whole thing behind the album and behind the intent. I don't have the information on the top of my head, and I don't think it's relevant and important to the review, but if y'all do want to hear more about it, Mike the Snare did a really in-depth video on it a long time ago. The whole thing was meant to be part of, like, the marriage between the art scene and the pop music scene, and this was going to be like the love child of the two, and I don't really know if it exactly comes off like that. I did tweet last April, and I even mentioned the tweet to Mike the Snare saying, once a year I try to listen to art pop and see if I enjoy it more than the year before. At the end of the tweet I said, well, there's always next year. And I retweeted it yesterday saying, shut up, bitch. Because it finally happened.
Here's the official year. We have to talk about your thoughts on this.
2022 is the year I finally ended up enjoying this album more than I ever had previously.
Wow, is that so?
It finally hit, my dude.
Okay.
Not to say it's not without its weak points.
Right.
And I'm gonna hit on those first. The songs I think were the weakest on the whole album, I would have to go ahead and say are Manicure or Manicure.
What silly, oh my god, just the delivery of some of these lines. Manicure. Like, why is she saying it like that?
Surprisingly, I wasn't the biggest fan of the title track either.
No,
ARTPOP.
that so threw me off. I was just like, oh, this is supposed to be like the thesis statement of the album, and it so feels empty as a song.
No, it's not at all. It's extremely underwhelming. And the other one that got the lower end rating...
Oh, please tell me. Come on. I'm like betting right now. You're gonna say the
You're
one.
betting?
Yeah, that was my absolute worst.
Well... I think we're gonna come to blows because the two other songs that got low ratings weren't that low. Like, they're just kind of low. They're actually higher than Manicure. I imagine you're gonna say Jewels and Drugs.
Yes.
Look, this song itself is a mixed bag because I think T.I., I think he gives a pretty solid verse, but Too Short really fucks it up. I don't know what the hell
It's so
he's
just
doing
there.
here.
Like, who was asking for Too Short on a art pop album? Like, what is happening?
He didn't need to be here at all. He fucked it up. Twista saved it, I thought.
I guess it just didn't come together. Like, I'm sorry, like at the end of every verse, it always just felt like, oh shit, and right away here, back to the weird Lady Gaga thing, and it's like, okay. Didn't it feel like
I don't know what
this
was doing here.
Yeah, it was like, I think this is a vestige of when she was still kind of trying to get cool with the hip hop crowd, because there was that. Remember, she did that song with Wale, and Wale did a song with her, and she was originally supposed to be on the "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" song, doing sort of a country mix that was kind of interesting. So there was like, I feel like at first when the label didn't really know what to do with her, they're like, is she gonna be a hip hop adjacent person? I don't know. Let's try it out. And then the weird angle kind of popped up where they were just like, fuck it, it's this now. And so this felt like they were trying to marry the two and be like, maybe she can still do it. And it's like, who needs T.I. on a Lady Gaga song? That was not the energy anyone was asking for.
Yeah, when we were talking about Chromatica and we were talking about dream collabs, T.I., Too Short, and Twista never would have came up on my short list.
For God's sakes. Like, Andre 3000, for God's sakes. Like, come on.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially, at least over these. Like,
I'll take a Lil Wayne, you know? Like, he's weird.
If we're talking weird, and if we're talking about queer representation, I know I bring them up every fucking time, but there's just not that many out there that are well known. If you put Tyler...
Oh,
with Lady
my
Gaga.
God. That would have blown up the internet.
It would have been weird. It would have been...
There's still time, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You could definitely do it next time. And the other one I was just kind of lukewarm on was Mary Jane Holland.
Oh, my God. What a... like, that song was really written like, it's just like, hey, has anyone done, like... Mary Jane, that name meaning like weed? But like, what if like the weed is like my persona that I'm taking on to give me confidence? It's like, don't you have like 8 personas by this point? Like, what's special about this? This is the one that I do when I'm high and in Holland specifically. It's
like, this is when I'm really weirding out there. Like, what?
And it's not even that weird. That's the thing.
No.
Like, so much of this, and a lot of what she's saying, like, the delivery of what she's saying is sometimes really weird, but not weird in a cool way. It's weird in a, what? Why did you say it like that? Like it's not weird enough. It's just so weird that it's just so awkward that you're just like, why did you pronounce it like that? Why did you enunciate it like that? The way she said it was like, Mary Jane Holland. And then another part where she was like, Mary Jane in Holland. And it was just like, wait, is she in Holland? Is that her name? Why are you doing this? It's like, this isn't clever. This is just awkward, you know? It's like, there's just little moments that it just feels like just an idea that she had is just being thrown on the page instead of like really mulling this over. You know what I mean? And it feels like, oh, isn't it weird that I did it the not normal way? See, someone would say the awkward way, but I did it the not normal way. Isn't it clever that I said not normal instead of just awkward? You know, like it's that sort of thing where it's like, that's like clever by half, you know?
And I really liked the rest of the album. So, RC, you're going to have to tell me your thoughts on the rest of it because I feel like we're just going to be arguing for the whole rest of the album here.
You know, maybe if I listen to it 20 more times over the next 5 years, maybe I'll eventually come to liking it a little bit more.
I do have to present this to you because I think this will be the destruction of Going Off. You at least like Aura, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I like Aura. Yeah.
Oh, okay, oof. I was about to say, because that fucking track is killer, And one of my favorite Lady Gaga songs, it goes so fucking hard, it's ridiculous.
I will say this, though. Like, when she starts off and it's like, I'm not a wandering slave, I'm a woman of choice, my veil is protection for the gorgeousness of my face. And I was like, but that doesn't, it sounded like you were going to say voice. Why did it, like, choice and voice and it, like, what's going on there?
See, you pay way too much attention to that shit.
And I think, you know, like, but it's like, how can you not hear that, you know? Like, the choice, protection of my face. It's like, but, like, it makes sense, like, structurally with the sentence, oh, yes, a veil protects your face, but it's just like, and also, isn't it supposed to be about her voice and how, you know, crazy her singing is? You know what I mean? It just kind of felt like, you're okay. That's the first. Like, you usually cover your face and have a bunch of weird stuff on you, you know? Like, I'm not really thinking, oh, yeah. Like, I remember for the longest time, I didn't really know what she looked like because she always had the glasses and shit on, you know? So I'm like,
yeah, that's true.
That just didn't seem right, you know? But I did like, you know, when she gets into the breakdown, it's like, do you want to see me naked, lover? Do you want to peek under the cover? Do you want to see the girl who lives behind the aura? You know, it's just like, oh, you know, I get that. Like, introducing you like, oh, yeah, you know, her being on the road, picking up a groupie and being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show you what's behind, you know, the face and how freaky I really am. Like, I like that, you know what I'm saying? That energy is cool. And I feel like it kind of carries on a little bit with Venus too. A bit of a step down, but I still enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, I think Venus is really good too. There's one line in Venus, and I have more notes on Aura too, but for Venus, I wrote down that the line, "Don't you know my ass is famous," right, would have been cheesy if she didn't deliver it with like such an exaggerated voice when she said it. Like, it kind of goes all the way back around to being okay. Because like, if you just would have said that straight,
yeah,
I would have been like,
You know what it is? It was just like, I think there's a lot of moments where she was relying on the delivery to deliver the lines that were maybe a little, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like,
and that's how they skirt past me, because I totally buy that and I bite. I was like, yeah, whatever. It sounded cool.
Because when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's all you had for Uranus? Because, like, as it was building up, I was just like, okay, there's going to be a joke about Uranus. And then it's like, oh, it's just my ass is famous. I'm like, oh.
Maybe that was it. Maybe
You know?
maybe she knew that was the too easy, you know?
Yeah.
I'd always listen to Aura, like, in the car or stuff like that. And I've never really listened to it with headphones listening super close to the music. But a couple things I really like about the instrumentation on Aura: Spanish guitar in the intro, like, really clearly. But there's also, like, it sounds almost like a didgeridoo under it that, like, I don't know if it's like an effect or an actual didgeridoo, but I was like, ooh, okay. It's making it sound extra worldly. We got the Spanish guitar, we got this Australian didgeridoo.
Yeah, I get that.
But then when it breaks down in the sweet sounding chorus, when it's just like strings going on, every few seconds you kind of hear the beat from before kind of like breaking through a tiny bit.
Oh yeah.
Like it's trying to break down a door, and it's like it opens just a little bit and you see what's behind it. It's like, and it closes again, so it's like and you're like, like it's trying to break through. I know we've had conversations about GUI before, and how it's a little confusing, like a little messy with the metaphor it's
just
trying to make.
Convoluted, yeah. Because I remember when this single came out, because I think this was around the time where I was like, I can't wait to hear what she does next, because it's always going to be something that's interesting. And then just hearing this and being like, huh? What the fuck? Like, because at first I'm thinking it's like, okay, yeah, I want to be your GUI. Oh, but I'm flipping it. I want to be the girl under you. And it's like, oh, what you gonna do for the other one? You're gonna be my girl, my guy I'm romancing loves to hold you. Like, what?
It's like, I like what you were going for.
Yeah, right? It just didn't stick the landing.
No, like, I think it slaps really fucking hard anyway, so it does come off sexy more than kind of basic girl boss shit would kind of come off. Like, I'm gonna be the guy, haha, like, All right, but like she kind of does something at least interesting with it.
See, I like the idea, and especially like later on in the track where she says like, "Oh, I'm the girl under you, but that still has power too." You know, it's like, oh, okay, I kind of do like that, but it just felt like it took too late to get to that point where I was like, I'm still so confused that by the time you got there, I was like, oh, I guess, you know.
Now, fucking Sex Dreams.
Sex Dreams brought me back in.
The fucking bass on Sex Dreams, the bass guitar?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Where the fuck was this the rest of the album, man? I say that every time. Whenever I hear killer bass guitar in an album, I'm like, that needs to be coming up.
Why is that only happening here? Yeah.
I know! Like, who did you fucking have in studio? They're like, no, that's good. That's enough. No!
They're just not paying these bass guys, man.
They gotta punch up the other ones too. There's room for it in all of these. You can find a spot for it.
For these songs, I feel like the hooks were better than the verses, but for this one, like, I liked the verses better than the hook, because it feels a little simple, like, ooh, you were in my sexy sex dream, like, you know, it just feels a little simple for it. It's like, shouldn't this song have been written 20 years ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the sex with 3 X's too.
Right, like,
it is a bit cheesy.
But, you know, I did like her delivery that kind of sounded a little, you know, James Cagney sleazy with the, heard your boyfriend was away this weekend, you know, like.
Yeah.
And I liked how her, this is what I really like. I liked how her verse was doing the sort of like 2 verses happening at the same time thing, where it's like, we could be caught, and in the background, I just want this to be perfect. We're both convicted criminals of thought, cause I'm broken. Let's white by the one before, glove the bed, he was kind of nasty. Like, I liked that, you know what I mean? That was really fucking fun. Then there was that one lyric where she says, you could turn to stone, or the color of men petrified by a woman. And I was like, yeah, no, I got that from Turn to Stone. Like, I got what that was. You know, you get what I mean? But like the weirdly overwriting where it's just like, what are you trying to... mention Medusa if you're going to bring that up. Don't like mention a metaphor and then another metaphor. It's like, well, you get what I'm trying to say with the 2 minutes? Like, just say it.
I'm very curious to hear what you thought about Swine.
Swine, I really love Swine, actually. That was a banger. That was straight banging.
Oh my god.
When she was like, swine! I was like, oh shit. That shit was going punk for a second.
Because I was worried, because, you know, it's got a little bit of that, like, glitchy noise to it that I was like, oh, I don't know if Farsi's gonna fuck with this. But the fact that the glitching noise almost kind of sounds like a pig oink.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
This is what this whole album should have been to me. Like, because it's like, I don't necessarily, you know, perfectly understand what it is, but I'm just so enjoying it so much that it doesn't matter. You know, like, I felt like I couldn't get to that point with a lot of these other tracks, you know, where it's like, it may be weird, but don't worry about how weird it is because you're enjoying it so much. But when it's like, it's the difference between Manicure and this track, right? Where it's like with this one with the swine and, you know, and just the little lyrics were just like, you be that hog, sweat it out, you squealer, and then the little let your body jiggle. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that one was just such a fucking good time.
I could totally understand how people would expect it to be more out there, more artistic and experimental.
I feel like with both of these album titles are kind of screwing them over, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah.
I was gonna say that since you had mentioned Bowie earlier, and I mean, there's plenty of comparisons you can draw between the two. This album kind of reminds me of Hunky Dory. Remember when we reviewed that one? Mm-hmm. And it was like, this is Bowie talking about the New York art scene, and this is him, like, this is his take. Like, oh, he's gonna be hanging around with the Velvet Underground, and he's gonna be hanging out with Andy Warhol.
Oh, talking about Bob Dylan and whatnot, yeah.
And the lyrics and songs don't really reflect it. It's like, I know you're living the lifestyle. I've seen the pictures.
Right.
You know?
I believe you.
I know you're taking in the sights, sounds, all 5 senses, I'm sure, of the New York art scene, but it did not reflect in the album. It's like, man, this kind of sounds like touristy, like someone who just kind of stopped in and then went to the hotel and wrote a couple songs. Like, it didn't feel like it was soaked in the goddamn sludge.
Right.
So with this, it's like, I guess to make another artistic metaphor, it's like if you had like a Jackson Pollock shit where shit's going all over the place, only a little bit of paint kind of splattered onto the album. Like, a lot of it misses. It's just like, this could have been a lot messier, a lot more abstract. Because I know that's what they're going for here, too. Because the person she fucking worked with is known to be a kind of pretentious art dickhead.
Oh, Kuntz?
Kuntz, yeah.
That's weird to actually be working with them and then reference them. I thought it was kind of like I'm just referencing them because it kind of sounds like cunt, right? Like,
I always thought that too, but no, I think he was like behind a lot of the promotional material. And I think he might have made the statue that's on the album cover? I'm not sure. I know he did a lot of designing for the album shit, though.
The ARTPOP actual track, this is the one where I thought it was going to be the most, here's her being weird, right? And it's like, it's so not that, but then like for 1 or 2 lines tries to be that. Like it tries to be just a love song at first, I think, because it's just like, oh, don't you get me or something like that. There's something that she says where it's just like, oh, that kind of seems like it's talking about a love song. But then it's like, oh, a hybrid can withstand these things. My heart could beat with bricks and strings. My art pop could mean anything. And it's like, calm down. This isn't that deep. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's like, I guess in theory it could.
Yeah, like.
Maybe not this, though.
That's what I was saying. Like, this, it's not like she was saying, oh, all this weird, abstract. It's not like that, that Beach Boys song where it was like, wow, I'm comparing the Beach Boys and saying they were more abstract. But like, the white puff, glistening, shadowy flows. Like, ooh, what are they talking about? You know what I mean? Like, we could belong together, art pop. We could belong together. And I was like, oh, what is that supposed to mean? And it's like, come to me with all your subtext and fantasy. Just do that thing you do in a perverse hue. Lovers' kites are flown on beaches for public sight. The color palette you choose could profit you. A hybrid can withstand these things. And it was just like, okay.
The title track is Gaga's manifesto of art and pop coming together. The line in the chorus, we could belong together, art pop, refers to art and pop being one, just like herself and her little monsters. The blending of art and pop is happening here and throughout the album. I mean, I guess.
Like, art is pop. All art is... Like, it feels like that's not that deep. Like, yes, these pop songs are art. That's how all music is art. Yes, like, like, what are you trying to say?
I guess it's like how Andy Warhol's shit was pop art.
Oh, sure.
That this is the music equivalent of that shit, but I mean, Warhol was a fucking hack and an asshole.
Yeah, and he had a whole bunch of people doing his work for him. Honestly,
he's a giant scumbag.
Like you gotta know that.
You don't want to draw any comparisons there.
I mean, there could be that person out there who's like, well, but you still got to think about the ideas and the concepts that are going. All right.
No.
And again, it's like there's something about the way she just lingers on these syllables that just feels really weird. I can't emulate it because I can't remember exactly how it went, but I just remember just like having that constant feeling. It's like I tried to sell myself, but I really am laughing because I just love the music, not the bling. And it was that specific point where I was just like, oh God, please don't repeat this part. And then she went, music, not the bling. It's like,
yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Especially when you just had a song with fucking T.I., Twista, and I don't know if you can do that, man. And then, that definitely hit in a weird way.
And then we have the combo of Donatella and Fashion, which the first one is like, it's another character piece, and it's kind of like ambiguous as like, are they making fun of the character or is it indulging in the character, but...
I wasn't sure either. I was very confused.
But then it's kind of like, well, maybe it's kind of like trying to, putting an eye on them, but still kind of going like, well, there is a bit that because it's like at the end, it's like, oh, because she walks so bad, it feels so good. Listen to her radiate her magic, even though she knows she's misunderstood. She does, but earlier it was just like, she's rich and she's blonde and kind of a bitch. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, so we're kind of, joking on this person a little bit. But then the Fashion song is just totally about like Donatella, oh, vapid chick in fashion, isn't that sucky? And then it's like, that fashion is all about fashion empowers you and it's good. And it's like, oh, were you just trying to cover your bases to make sure? And it's like, haha, we're joking on this person. But seriously though, please invite me to the fashion shows. I still do like fashion. Like what's happening?
I was very confused about what kind of message it was trying to send about bulimia in Donatella too.
Walk down the runway, but don't puke. It's okay. You just had a salad today. Boulangerie.
Yeah.
And I was having the moment where I was like, wait, a boulangerie is like a bakery. Like, they don't make salads. So, and I was trying, and it didn't seem like she was talking as the character at that moment. It seemed like she was like a person describing the character. You know what I mean? So I was just like, what is happening? But now I do like fashion. Like, the thing is, I kind of like both of these songs, though. Like, the first song confuses me, but I can enjoy the ridiculousness of it. And the second song, like, I'm able to just enjoy because it doesn't try to do like a message thing. It's just like, hey, I like fashion. And it's like, fine. I wish you hadn't complicated it with the song before, but okay, you know?
There was also like someone yelling in the background every little bit.
Yeah, that was weird at the beginning.
I liked that. I didn't know what that was or who that was, what was going on, but I dug that. What did you think of, again, another 1-2 punch, Dope, and the other one that I'm not comfortable saying the name of, because it was 2012 and times were different.
I was having that moment, I was like...
Romanian Slur. But I brought that up that they were like 1-2 punches because they're both kind of ballads.
Yeah, and I don't like Dope as much, I think, because it's like... I like her voice, and I think I like the verses, but when the hook is just like, I need you more than dope, it just, something just feels like too much. There's a little bit too much sauce on it. You know what I mean? Where it just feels like, I don't know, something just feels weird about the way she's saying it. It felt like she was, I'm still trying to put on art pop face and not just the dropping the veil and being vulnerable, you know? Like,
I feel like maybe if you would have done the thing where it's like side 1, side 2, where like one side is, you know, way more artsy and in your face, and then the other one is like, you said, the vulnerable, you know, I'm showing my true self to the world, like,
right,
maybe, but yeah, it was kind of jumbled, I guess.
And I'm not gonna lie, like, track 14, like, it does feel like, it felt like they were trying to split the difference in terms of like, this is the vulnerable song, but let's put a little club in there, you know what I mean, like...
My 2 notes for it were another ballad and, oh, fuck yeah, let's go. Like, they fucking got me. They swerved me. Leaving applause for the end.
Yeah, and this song, man, what is up with these lyrics? Like, even more so than the lyrics before. Like, if you thought art pop was like, oh, you know, yeah, okay, a little abstract. This is like the ultimate epitome of like, what the fuck was that? That wasn't, like, it wasn't abstract enough for me to be like, ooh, it's cryptic. Because I still understand what you're saying, but it's like, you're trying to put in a little bit of a play on words there, and I don't know if this is hitting it right. Like, the very first lyric, I stand here waiting for you to bang the gong, to crash the critic saying, is it right or is it wrong? So, like, already I'm like, wait, you're, okay, so you're just standing there, you're waiting for people to bang the gong. Okay, so now I'm thinking of like, oh, like on the Gong Show, like, oh, wait for this. No, wait, no, those are your fans. The fans are banging a gong to crash critics. What are you, like, what the fuck? Like, you know, it's like, it's clearly trying to communicate the idea, oh, my fans are going to, like, be the people to, you know, show me the love that I need. But it's just so awkwardly worded in a way where it's just like, that's not like so clever that it's like, oh, what is she saying? I have to dissect it. It's more just like, huh? You just didn't write that well enough, you know? And then
it was a little awkward.
And then the fucking, the second verse where it's like, this, like, the first one you could maybe make the case for, but what the fuck is I've overheard your theory, nostalgia's for geeks. Stop. Cut it. Cut the tape. This is 2012. What the fuck are you talking about? Nostalgia's for geeks. Nostalgia's literally being sold in the mainstream everywhere. What do you mean it's only for geeks? And then, I guess, sir, if you say so, some of us just like to read. What are you talking about? What? Like, oh yes, when people were selling us 80s nostalgia in the 2000s, some of us just like to read the books from the... What? They're selling us movies and TV and songs from the 80s and the aesthetic of the 80s. Like, you were selling Madonna again. Don't you remember? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just so confusing. And not in a way that's like, oh, I really gotta contemplate, what could the answer... No, it's just like, that is just an incorrect thing to say, and so it feels weird for her to treat it as if it's like, am I right, fans? It's like, you know?
I liked it. What did you come out with an overall rating for this?
I gave this one let me go down to my, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Wow.
And yeah, that.
I got a jump scare from that.
I thought I gave it a 3.
I'm clutching my pearls.
But then,
Holy shit.
as I think about even in the songs that I like, where it would just be like, you're not letting me fully enjoy these tracks. Like, it just kept cutting in for me. Like, I'm sorry. I gotta throw it down. I gotta ask for more. And as someone who has heard the music that I think is really good, I don't know. This feels like a step down.
I got a 4.
That's cool. Like, it's cool. Hey, look,
That's
I'm not
okay.
Okay. No, I'm not going like, how dare you? No, because like I definitely can see being able to enjoy the goodness that happened here more than the badness. But like for me, I was just like, it would just take me out of it just enough where I like, I can't say that I like give this above the 3. You know what I mean? Like,
Up next, we've got Something for the Hotties.
oh, is that so?
Megan Thee Stallion, requested by Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. And thank you, Dr. Goatman, before either. I didn't say thank you then either. We got Megan Thee Stallion back for a 3rd time, RC.
Oh, that's right.
And look, I think it's very important to say, because of all the bullshit
Oh my goodness.
in the courts,
Jeez, I'm gross.
that I love Megan Thee Stallion. I respect Megan Thee Stallion as a person, as a musician, as an artist.
Long sigh. Reviewer long sigh.
I just, this shit
can't do
never hits with me, man.
I
It
can't
just
do it.
never clicks
can't
with
lie.
me. And I'm waiting for the day. I am anxiously waiting for the day for me to listen to a Megan Thee Stallion release and go, this right here is what the fuck
Oh.
I've been waiting for.
Right.
This is the shit I need. RC 20 what?
21.
Look, man. I get it, right? I get it.
21.
It's a mixtape. It's not, it's not an official studio release,
I fucking
right?
guess, but
Half these songs are labeled freestyles, apparently.
yeah, and that really annoyed me. Just like because it killed my mood for wanting to respect the song, and I think that happened for a lot of people. When you see 4 songs in a row that just said, "Oh, freestyle," it's just a freestyle. It's like, no, allow me to come to it myself, and maybe respect it as a song. Like I feel like labeling 1 or 2 of the shorter songs freestyle, that's fine, but like. Lie to me, act like it's a full song. Maybe I'll believe it. Like,
Yeah, I feel like in most cases, the songs that were actually labeled freestyle were
they just sound like
For the-
songs that were too short.
yeah, for the most part, they were indistinguishable from regular songs. In most cases, they were better than the ones that weren't labeled freestyle. And the main thing about them was that it just felt like, oh, well, this is the label I put on it to excuse that it's really short. That it's
Right.
like barely 2 minutes or something like that. And it's like, you don't have to do that. Megan, it's a fucking mixtape. I get it. You don't have to label them like that.
And the thing is,
You can't tell. Like, if you just played a song for me, I would not
Yeah.
be able to tell you if it was labeled freestyle or not. For the most part.
right, usually you
There are a
can
couple
tell.
songs on here that were huge on TikTok and sound like they were made for fucking radio.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have that sheen about them that does sound more complete. But, yeah, some of them just feel like incomplete songs. Like,
Yeah, and my thing is like, usually I can tell, like, when something's a freestyle, it's like, oh, you can hear the sound quality is a little different. You can hear there's someone in the background kind of, like, about to let him go. Like, that's what I think of as, like, a freestyle track. Like, oh, here's him going off the dome live. You can hear how raw he really is. But when you have, like, 4 songs in a row called freestyle, and they honestly just sound like studio recordings, it's like, what was the point of continually saying that? Like... and it's not like it's like a Denzel Curry thing where it sounds like he's really going off the dome. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, so like, because there are verses and hooks in a lot of these, so it's not like, oh, just one verse. A lot of them will be like, oh, there was actually a hook there, and then it's like, so why are you acting like this isn't a like? Have you heard, like Lil Pump, for God's sakes? Why do you call that Gucci Gang freestyle, for fuck's sake? Like, it's about as much the same length and quality, you know?
I wrote down for the first track, and I feel like this applies for most of them. Fun throwback 90s beat. That doesn't really apply to a lot of them, but it applies to the first track. Fast freestyle flow, some clever bars, not too much out of the ordinary. Pretty predictable, but catchy.
Yeah, I like the double
how I
time.
feel about most of the songs.
I like the double time in the first one. I thought that was a cool, like, additional energy there.
That was one of the ones that got a higher rating from me. The songs that I gave the lowest ratings to first, get those out of the way. The first note was 3 minutes? Whoa! Mm-hmm. And then the second note was, oh no! I'm talking about Let Me See It. Got the lowest rating for me on the whole thing.
Let me see it. What track was that?
I have it written
14.
down as 10, as 11, but that's because I have the skits not listed, so I'm not sure what number it actually was.
This was the worst because I wanted to like what was happening. Like, this is a frustrating album because it's like, I honestly feel like the beats and hooks will be kind of there where I'm like, oh, okay, I can rock with this. But then she just doesn't.
Of the hooks.
But then she just doesn't do anything. And then it's just like, okay, well, what the fuck? And I think this was the most egregious, where I think it was just a hook, and then it was like, hey, here's Bun B reminding you that this person's cool, because here's this person telling you they're cool, and hey, here's Paul Wall telling you, it's like, oh my god, I don't need two people in a row. Like,
that fucking pissed me off, because, it already had a really weak chorus on that one, so it wasn't really giving me anything to hold on to. And right after, I was like, holy shit, 3 minutes? Literally half the song is people talking.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
I'm not sticking around for that.
Why is it this
no
called?
Fucking way.
Why is it this called Let Me See It Freestyle or whatever the fuck, so we can be like, oh, it's probably just an interlude. You know, like, what?
And if you got Megan at the end of the album giving a little special thanks on its own track, why couldn't these be separate tracks?
Yeah.
Why did these have to be jammed together?
I don't
But even
understand.
then, I have written down one of my very few quotes I took, because I just... I'm a lady pimp. These N-words, all my hoes. Which one I want today? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. No. Eeny, meeny, miny, no.
Now, I will say, she does have, like, some bars on this album, right? Like,
sometimes,
you know,
yeah.
Tuned In Freestyle, where she's like, nigga, this head game lethal. Use my tongue, put thread through a needle. Bitch, I'm a movie. These hoes is my sequels. Keep a pussy hole real tight like a kegel. Like, you know what I'm saying? She has some flow, she has some rhymes. But the thing that annoys me the most is when just the jarring not rhymes that happen. And it's just like, you've got to hear that this doesn't rhyme. You've got to hear that this doesn't rhyme. Like,
RC, it's a freestyle.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's okay, it's a freestyle.
But yeah, it's just so like like, oh, come on. And it's not even one of those things, because like there are some words where it's like, oh, I can hear how you can hear the rhyme of that, where you're like, oh, just kind of like focusing on the, you know, the emphasis of it and the stress of the syllables, so you're kind of hearing that in your ear more. But like some of these things will just be like, okay, how did you think that rhymed with that? And I'm trying to find it. I thought I put the ones that were especially annoying in red, but let me see.
Gotta give him the red underline.
Yeah. Damn it. I don't think I did. Fuck. Let me see. Oh, what is it? Was it the Megan's Piano, which is, yeah, one of the worser tracks?
Megan's Piano was one of the highest rated cuts for me.
No.
Yeah.
We really are on the opposite, because I enjoyed the freestyle tracks enough, but when it was tracks that didn't have freestyle on them, oddly enough, I was just like, huh.
Okay. I need to know right now what your favorite cuts were.
Okay. I gotta look.
Your prime cuts.
Yeah. So I liked Tuned In Freestyle. I thought that one, the first one was nice.
Hold on, let me find it.
Okay.
Let me find Tuned In. See what I thought of that one. Oh yeah, that was the first one. Okay, then yeah, sure.
Yeah. Out of Town Freestyle.
Yeah.
It's like, how a
I
hoe
agree.
gonna punk me? How a hoe gonna punk me on the spot that can't get next to me? Your vocab don't go past period. Hoe, don't question me. Like, I was like, oh, okay. You know.
Okay, but
What?
does it feel like though? Does it feel like Megan is just recycling the same bars over and over and over again?
Oh yes, especially about halfway through the album. Like, I will say it's a testament that I was enjoying it as much as I did, but I do specifically remember halfway through it being like, okay, I feel like I've heard that version before. Okay, I feel like I've heard that version before. Yeah.
That we've listened to 3 Megan releases up to this point. I feel like she has the same. I feel like at this point, it's just a Megan Thee Stallion bar AI random generator. And it just rearranges them and hopes you don't notice that this was said 2 releases ago, but in a different place, in a different speed. For most of the songs on here, the ones that got the lowest ratings weren't because I thought they were whack or just like because I didn't like them or if I thought they were just bad in general. It's just that I was like either bored by them or they came off kind of awkward. Like sometimes the flow can just kind of like, she does that thing where like she's cramming too many words into a bar, where they just kind of feel like run-on sentences that just go on forever.
Yeah.
Like those are the times they give songs low ratings where it's just like, I feel like I've heard this shit, or this is just messy.
Yeah. Was it this line where it's like bad bitches running my pack, gang shit, Cartier frames, spot a bitch on some lame shit, broke niggas all on the way, clear them, chains ain't make no noise, they ain't big enough. I was like, what the fuck was that supposed to rhyme with? Clear
that one.
Was that supposed to rhyme with big enough? Like, come on. You know? And yeah, that's the thing. Like, these songs could benefit from actually being concepts. You know, it's like, I feel like you can make essentially the same song if you're actually like doing something with it. Like Wanksta, yeah, sure, he's pretty much saying the same thing. Like Wanksta by 50 Cent, you know, it's pretty much the same sort of I'm better than you sort of shit. But it feels different because it feels like there's a topic with this one. You say you a gangster, but you never pop nothing. You say you a wank. You know what I mean? Like it feels like, oh, this one's directed at someone specifically, so I can feel it different from I'll Still Kill You, whatever other song he did. You know, like. I'm sure he had some songs like I'll still kill people. Like,
I'll still kill you.
We're very
Hell
sure.
Yeah.
We're very sure of that 50. But yeah. And then what was it was one line which is like, I got so much plaque built up, RIAA, my dentist, and I feel like, oh shit, y'all should eat my pussy. How much y'all mention me? And it's like, what? Like just slipped right off the flow there.
Is it dentist and mention?
Yeah.
Ooh. I see where you thought.
Right?
I'm following the line of thinking. I see it. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But I see it.
And let me see. Lowest rated tracks. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Were those all your favorites?
Oh wait, my bad. We were talking about highest tracks. Kitty Cat I thought was really good.
Okay.
The me so horny flip, like, okay, I like that. I can't front on that.
I had written down that I should have fucking known it was JR with this lifted beat.
God damn it.
Because, like, this is one that it was like, it was all over TikTok for a little while, and it really worked. My only complaint, and I tweeted about this too, and I hate that this has become a new phenomenon with pop songs specifically, is that a song will come out, and then it'll make its way to TikTok, and someone will speed it up just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Or a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the sped up version on TikTok ends up being catchier than the original.
Yeah.
And that applies to Kitty Cat. Because the one that I heard on TikTok was just a little bit faster. So when I hear it on here,
feels like
it's like Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Like something's just wrong about it. I like Kitty Cat. I think it's very catchy. I like the beat. I wish it was longer. It's like, this wasn't a freestyle. This could have been longer. And I felt the same about the other TikTok hit, Thought Shit. I like that one a lot.
I really, Thought Shit was like, this is what this album was building up to, and I wish it would have gotten here sooner. Like,
It is my highest rated track.
Yes,
on the
mine
whole
as well.
thing.
Mine as well.
And it's right at the fucking end. It was well worth it, I think, but like, yeah, man, like 20-something cuts.
I legitimately, I wrote down at one point, it's like, okay, can we like cut half of these songs, put the verses of those half of those songs into like the verses from the better songs, and then have full songs now? Like, because I feel like you're throwing away fire here, but it's just, you're stretching it out too much, you know what I mean? Like, take your 24, cut it down to 8 bars, make it a hook, you know what I mean? Like, come on, get to the point. And this is the thing, I felt like there's a bit of like, oh, well, because the mixtape doesn't matter. It's like, fuck that, it always matters, because this was kind of, I feel like, a bit of a blemish in her legacy, because I remember a lot of people saying like, oh, wow, this is what she's putting out, I don't know about that. Like, it matters what you put out, you know what I mean?
It's weird, because I think about what Megan is doing and what her place in the pop scene is, right? Like, I heard WAP and songs on here where she's doing like oh, I'm just talking filthy, but it's like Cupcake does it way more interesting than Megan does.
And intricately,
And then I hear when Megan does pop hits, and I'm like, yeah, this is really cool, this is really catchy. But Doja Cat does it a lot more interesting than
I think she benefits from like getting in and getting the fuck out. Like, if this album were 7 tracks with the best verses on them, I really do think this would have been something that really held the fans over. But as it was, it just felt so bloated. It's like, that's what it is. It feels so bloated, and this is supposed to be just a bunch of throwaways that you threw together, and it still feels like there's too much happening. You know, this is supposed to be the, oh, don't think too much about this one. This is the, you know, in the middle of this, but it still feels like you're already running out of steam, and we already heard this track 10 times. You know, so by the time we do get to your next album, like, I think we're good. I think we already heard a bunch of these, right? Oh my God. Freaking, yeah, that was the one where she had one lyric where she's like, I be making money, yeah, we be having sex, yeah. And it's like, yes, yeah, I know. Like, yes, you already said that, you know? What was that one lyric in particular? It was Opposite Day, a track that I did like a little bit more, except for the hook being like, every day is opposite for me, because I don't want to be like nobody. And I'm like, I don't think that's opposite, but all right. But what was it? This one lyric where she's like, I got 2 niggas tricking, telling me they love me, and they both mean it. That's a double entendre. And I'm like,
no.
Like, not only does it not rhyme,
that too.
I was not like, a double entendre.
That's not what that means.
It's like, it's just frustrating.
I had to pull it up because I remembered there being a release, and it was Traumazine. I haven't listened to that one yet.
Oh yeah, maybe that's next.
Yeah, like, it's our second studio album. It's the one that's considered an album.
Right.
And according to the background, I guess I just wasn't paying attention. I really didn't catch this. In 2020, Megan Thee Stallion filed a suit against her label 1501 Certified Entertainment to renegotiate her contract after the management company Rock Nation found it iffy. When Something For The Hotties was released, the record label didn't recognize it as an album because it has 29 minutes of new material instead of 45, so the rapper would have to release 2 more albums in addition to Something. On February 22, Megan filed the suit against the label, claiming Something respects the definition of an album with at least 45 minutes of material.
I mean, maybe if you didn't call them all freestyles.
That's the problem!
Because it sounds like you're trying to make me, I was thinking of it as, you know?
If they weren't labeled freestyle, maybe it would have worked. Yeah, like...
Freestyles, again, like, interludes. There's songs that are interludes, but like they're called interludes, but it's like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, I can't lie. I skipped all of those. Like, as soon as I saw it said skip, I did not listen to it.
And I mean, you have a reason to. What was the first skit? It was just like nothing happening. The first skit was like 2 girls just kind of talking, and it doesn't really lead into the next song because they're all just kind of about how she's fucking this guy and he's giving her money. Like, you know, so what's the difference between, why does this one song need an intro? Like,
and it's like they were over a minute too. Like, why? Why is this skit going on for so long? One bar that annoyed me on Pipe Up. We didn't talk about that one. My first note was, patiently waiting for this to be over. I'm so bored.
Patiently waiting for this track to be over.
Brand new AP got the right timing. You can get it when I hear the register ching ching.
Oh.
No.
Oh my god! And this was the one with another line in here. Yes, thank you so much for bringing it to it. Because working for that pussy, but don't even have a job. That's them same ass hunters you was posting last month. Megan, job does not rhyme with month. Stop it! You can't tell me you don't hear this. I'm not taking crazy pills right now. You guys are hearing this, right? Like, that isn't even like a, oh, well, if you bend your ear, you could hear it. No, job,
No.
month, no. Come on.
I got a 3.
I got a 3 too.
Oh, cool.
I will say I did like the one line in what was that one, because I've been watching this show where she says he keep begging me for One Piece Luffy all around the world trying to get this coochie. Like, I was like, Luffy, you're still that anime girl. that was something.
There was the bar about Pikachu and Charizard.
Oh sure, yeah. Like,
I was like, okay.
Like when she took it, like Pikachu was like, okay, I know you're gonna say that, and then adding Charizard, I was like, oh, okay, you flipped it a little bit more, all right, because like everyone's gonna say Pikachu, like.
I want to thank you very much for spending your time with us this week, and I also wanted to give a big thanks again to Dr. Goatman and Hannah for requesting the albums we talked about this week. And if there's an album that you would like to hear us talk about, head on over to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/goinoff. That's GOINOFF to request an album to be on a future episode. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. We got our individual Patreons, Ko-fis, YouTubes, you name it. We got a fucking account there. I got a Mastodon on, I ain't using it, but I got one. I got a Tumblr, and I ain't using it, but I got one. I got all the Twitter alternatives just in case. They're lying in wait.
That's right.
But I'm still mainly active on Twitter, so yeah.
Yeah. And I am getting more active on my Rap Critic Facebook page, so get with that, act like you want it. You know what I'm saying?
Facebook.
There were people saying like, it actually is good to like have like a group that people are going to specifically to your thing for. So I was like, all right, let me get off of, let me stop slouching on this internet shit, So I'm trying to get more active with that. Like I said, I got my Twitter, I got a TikTok. I think it's just Rap Critic. If I try to open up TikTok to like see it, it's gonna cut off the call, so I'm not gonna. But I do post.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but I'll post clips from old episodes as well as like
nice
when I feel like ripping on Kanye or something like that.
Oh god!
I had that video I had to upload, which got a lot of TikTok views, where I was showing the Tim Pool interview where like a piss baby was like, this alt-right pipeline podcast won't let me rant enough about the Jews, so I'm leaving. and I was like, look, Lisa, you can see right at the point where Kanye finds out that he can't bitch as much as he wanted to.
Yeah.
So that was a fun video to put up real quick. But yeah, you never know when I might randomly spontaneously have loads of shit there. So get with it, act like you want it. And yeah, patreon.com/rapcritic, where we actually just recently did a music TV and game night where we watched some Venture Brothers, we listened to some music, like different people were able to throw on music, and then we had a game night that was freaking awesome. We had a Jackbox Games, and we did that.
Oh, cool.
The one where you give them a word, and then they'll give you like a sentence, and you have to rhyme it with something. Like, that was really fucking fun. So, definitely come through for the next time we have that, but that's available exclusive to my Patreon fans, patreon.com/rapcritic, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we be getting in it. You could freestyle against the man himself, RC, and see how your bars hold up,
I also wanted to mention it before I forget, that because you mentioned EA, so we did have a request in the queue for a Kanye album, and after the remarks and everything, we finally decided that no, enough is enough. We're not doing that. We're not playing that game anymore. So we had requested that the person change their request to a different album. So just letting folks know that while we are open to just about everything, please do not request Kanye albums. But for Going Off, Well, I fucked that up. Damn it. You were doing so well the past couple weeks. I tried, and all of a sudden I fuck it up.
Getting better.
I did it for how many episodes in a row? Oh, God. That does it for the Going Off podcast. We'll see you next time. I'm Muse.
And
God damn it! I fucked that up again! For the Going Off podcast, I'm Muse.
And I'm Rap Critic, and on the next year of Going Off, more bad music for us to rip on, great music for us to praise, or middling crap that's okay but mostly disappointing. Come back next year to find out. I'm gonna be king of the podcast.
Fuck Southwest.